Hi, this is Josh with RetroTV1 Tech, and today we're going to be unboxing and setting up a Toshiba Tecra 500cdt laptop for MS-DOS and Windows 95 games. We hope you enjoy the video, and I've been really excited about getting a laptop like this ever since I got interested in retro gaming again. And some of those old MS-DOS games are so great I can't wait to try them out on this machine. And it should be great for MS-DOS gaming because it's got a Pentium processor that should handle most of the games I want to play. It's got a CD-ROM drive as well as a floppy drive to load games, but most importantly to me, it has Blaster Pro Compatibility through its chipset, so I should get some of those great MS-DOS soundtracks to play on this thing. It's also got an Ethernet card so I can check FTP transfer between my modern PC and that PC, and all kinds of other things that we'll explore throughout the video. And I will be making another video soon to talk about some of the decisions I had to make when purchasing a laptop to play retro games. So I'll do that in a future video, and I hope that's helpful to any of you who'd like to buy a laptop like this to play some of your favorite MS-DOS games. And please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell if you enjoy these types of videos. We're going to be doing lots of videos about this computer, as well as old consoles, old computers, and live streams of old games. You name it, we're going to have those on this channel, so definitely subscribe if you're interested in that type of content. But without any further ado, let's get started with the unboxing. All right, here we go. Let's check this thing out. Some good packing here, it looks like. Quite a bit of foam on top of it, so that's always a good sign. Several layers there, and then we have the laptop bag that comes with it, which is nice. That'll be nice for storage. It's, of course, with this laptop being several years old, I'm sure it would be really hard to find a bag for it anymore. Probably hard or almost impossible. You'd have to go to eBay, something like this. So. All right, so there it is. Everything apparently is in this bag. That's pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at it. Let's see. I guess I'll try and open the main zipper here. The laptop bag really isn't in that bad a shape. I'm thinking this laptop's probably from 1997, somewhere around there, 1995, 1997, somewhere around there. Alright, so there we go. There it is. Toshiba Tecra. Wow. Alright. It says, do not stick any objects between the shock system and the bottom of the case. Ah, interesting. Alright. It's like a really involved laptop case there. Now, of course, what's most shocking about these laptops, you know, from the 90s and early 2000s is just how thick they are. But a lot of the reason they're thick is because they have so many more peripherals than a modern laptop that may not even have a standard USB-A port. Of course, everybody knows a lot of laptops now have gone just to standard USB-C, and here we go. And this laptop probably doesn't even have that. It would have predated even USB-A, but it does have PCMIA slots here. Even a little fan on the side, which is really cool. And then you've got the CD-ROM drive, and I believe the CD-ROM drive swaps out for a floppy, which is really cool. It's very modular. These older laptops have a great modular design. And you'll have to excuse me doing this on the floor because I don't have a proper table set up to do these types of unboxings, but maybe eventually. It looks like this is where maybe the hard drive comes out. Let's see if I can get it to focus there on that. There we go. Yeah, it looks like that's where the hard drive comes out. So I may put, from what I understand, the hard drive's working, but I may put compact flash there eventually. We've got a modem port. Then on the back side, we have the power port. I believe the power supply is internal, I want to say. I'll look and find the cord and we'll see for sure. You've got your VGA port right there. Get that focused in, there we go. And the serial port, a 9-pin serial port. You've got a PS2 mouse / keyboard port, so either one here. IR, it's pretty interesting. I'm not sure exactly what you'd use an IR controller for on that, but I'm sure there's some use of it. A parallel port, which you know, is huge compared to today's USB printer ports, and of course most printers are wireless now. And then you've got a full set of audio inputs and outputs there. You've got microphone, speakers, and looks like line in and line out. So that's pretty amazing. And this does have a Sound Blaster Pro compatible sound card. Here's the bottom of it. There's several different access points. I would imagine one of them is to get to like the memory and stuff like that. So, and again, this is a, it's kind of upside down, but it's a 500 CDT, a Toshiba Tecra 500 CDT. So let's get it opened back up here. All right, so here it is opened up. It's actually pretty clean. I'm really impressed. And it's got, you know, we could probably clean the mouse buttons up a little bit, but a good wipe down should take care of that. It's not even really that dusty. You've got the eraser point mouse there, so we'll see how that works. But of course I can easily attach a PS2 mouse. And again, no USB ports. This definitely predates USB, but again, Toshiba Tecra 500 CDT. So really neat laptop and really neat device. We'll get it powered on here in just a second and try it out, and then we'll do a more full testing video in the future. So, but just to show you how it opened there, because I didn't do that earlier, just push a button, opens right up. So, and you can see stereo speakers there, which is really, really nice. We'll see how those sound here in just a little bit. But yeah, and this thing has Windows 95 on it. I'm told that the battery actually still holds a charge, which is pretty incredible for laptops that is what, 20 maybe 25 years old or so. So we'll see how that works. But anyway, let's check it out. And before we turn the computer on, let's check out what other goodies are in the bag here. Looks like we've got a PS2 mouse. It's a Packard Bell mouse. That's interesting. Okay, but yeah, it's definitely PS2 style plug, so we can use that on there just in case the eraser ball doesn't work too well. And then in here, I believe, is the floppy. So there you go. So here's the floppy, and it's a 3¼ inch floppy drive, or 3.5. I'm sorry, 3.5 inch floppy drive. Of course, a high density by this point. That changed a long time before this. This is a floppy disk drive attachment case, and it looks like it can attach a couple different ways: connect, disconnect. So I'll have to figure out how that works. And it looks like it can be externally or internally connected. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can have both connected at the same time on this this port right here. I believe is how that works. It looks like that matches up. So lots of really cool stuff to explore here. I'll do some research and make sure I understand all these ports and everything. But for right now, it's just cool to kind of check it out and see how it works. All right, well, we're gonna get it powered up and see how it runs. See if it'll power up on battery or if I need to plug it in. And actually, I had an idea before we power this on. I have a 13-inch MacBook Pro, which is almost the same width as the Toshiba Tecra, but of course the height is a huge difference here. Now, the Toshiba has a lot of things on it that the MacBook Pro doesn't. Obviously, the MacBook Pro doesn't even have a USB-A port. It has 2 USB-C ports, but what's interesting, you know, of course, the MacBook doesn't have CD, floppy, or any of that. But it's just interesting how technology evolves. Actually, the MacBook is even thicker than just the screen area on the Toshiba. And another thing I noticed while I was looking at this here is that this little slider down here is where the external floppy attaches. I was wrong, so I'll have to look at what this PCMIA card is, or what type of card that is, and just make sure I understand that and what connects to that. It looks like it might need, see if I can get closer here. There we go. Looks like it might need like a dongle or something to connect to it, but either way, that is the floppy connector. So it's cool that you can have both a floppy and the CD connected at the same time. All right, so it looks like the power button is down here on the side. So we're gonna try and power this on here and see if it comes on without being plugged in. It looks like it doesn't, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in and we'll give it a try. All right, well, I got it plugged in to the wall, and it's just a regular standard AC adapter here. So you can see it just plugs right in the back. So the power supply, the transformer that converts the AC to DC is actually inside the computer, which is, I believe, was pretty common on laptops of this era. So it's pretty cool if you did lose your charger, you really only just needed a standard cable. You didn't have to buy the expensive charger like for these, you know, MacBooks are close to $100. I also figured out what this PCMIA card is for. And again, it's hard to focus on that, but it is a Ethernet. So this is a little dongle that goes with the Ethernet 10 base T Zircom. So that's pretty cool. So that hooks in over here. So pretty cool that it has Ethernet. I can hook it into the network and maybe transfer files to it that way. So that'll be really fun to try out. But either way, let's see if we can get it powered on. All right, looks like the power light is on. I hear it spinning up. Ah, we have picture. Okay, this says bad RTC battery. Check system, then press F1 key. So it must be the CMOS battery, which is pretty standard, I think. Maybe the battery needs to be replaced in the CMOS. I'm not really sure exactly where that would be, but I'm sure we can figure it out. So I'll press F1, and let's see if it can go. Ah, okay. So now we're going to go through our whole system setup here. So we've got, the display actually looks really clear. I don't know if you can see it on the video. Of course, this is a TFT active matrix display, and when we do our video about how to pick the ultimate MS-DOS gaming laptop, this is MS-DOS, of course, and Windows 95, I will let you know, more about the different screen types and things like that go along with it. But you can see some of the specs of the computer, VGA, of course, 32 megs of RAM, which is really good for this time period, hard drive, enhanced IDE, power up mode, boot, all the things. So yeah, we're not really going to change anything here. Everything looks pretty standard. I don't know if there's like different options for, whoops, I don't know if there's like different options for display adapter. I guess you push the space bar to change. Ooh, yeah, okay, we're gonna leave that alone. I don't want to, definitely don't want to just disable the display. That would be bad. And then text mode stretch disabled. Now, of course, here it's filling up the screen, but I wonder if in MS-DOS mode or in certain like modes, this is, I believe, 800 by 600 display, and it has some other resolutions it can do as well. But I wonder if when it's in like 640 by 480, maybe it can do a stretch mode, which would change the aspect and would make it look obviously stretched and a little bit out of the aspect ratio, but it's an option as well. So all right, so I need to hit the end key down here to get out of the BIOS, and hopefully we'll boot into Windows. All right, so yep, we didn't really change anything, so we're gonna hit yes, and let's boot the system. There it goes. Toshiba video. Testing the RAM. I miss this on modern computers. I know it takes a little while to do that, but that RAM test was always so much fun to see it go up, especially when you added more RAM to the system. Copyright 1996. So yeah, I was right about when I was saying 95 to 97, somewhere around there. Ah, it's been a while since I've seen that. Starting Windows 95. Speaking of stretch, so you do see that that doesn't fill the whole screen. I believe that's a 640 by 480 bitmap, which is why obviously 640 by 480 doesn't divide evenly into 800 by 600, and so that's why it is sitting there with the black bars on the outside rather than have it out of aspect ratio. I wonder if there's an option to stretch it. I don't know. Either way, this is Windows 95 with Microsoft Internet Explorer. It would be really fun, since it does have the Ethernet, to hook up the Ethernet and see how many modern websites it could actually display or see what it would do, but we'll save that for another video. This is just checking it out and see how it works. I don't even have a mouse hooked up to it right now. Definitely fun to see how long these things take to boot. If I put compact flash in it, it'll be, of course, a little quicker, but there it goes. Oh, wow, somebody had Party Poker on here. That's funny. All right, and recycle bin and all kinds of stuff. Looks like there's documents in the recycle bin. It's kind of funny when people sell computers. My Tandy computer that I unboxed the other day, it had files on it too. Hope nothing personal information, and certainly I'll be careful not to show any of that on the videos. If anybody did leave personal information, we want to respect that. But it is kind of funny that people do sell something like this and don't take the personal information off. So let's try the little eraser tip mouse. I don't know if there's a better name for it than that, but it does actually work. So we can go down here to the start menu. That works really, really well. Oh my goodness, the program menu. That is so cool. And we actually, I was looking at the modem stuff there. We actually don't have a phone line here. We just use cell phones just like a lot of other people do. Looks like it's got an HP DeskJet. We used to have a 500, 610, I believe we had like a 650 at one point too. So these are, of course, standard parallel printer options from HP. Microsoft Office. Ooh, they got old versions of Excel and Word and everything else. That's so cool. Let's see what version of Word this is. It seems to work really, really well. I mean, like I said, it needs a little cleaning, but it's in pretty good shape overall. So it's Word 97. It's licensed to Nike. So I wonder if the person who used this was actually working for Nike at the time. That's pretty cool. Apparently they also like to play party poker. So this thing runs pretty fast, honestly. I'll go into the system settings and we'll see what kind of, I believe it's 120 megahertz Pentium. But let's go in and let's see. I believe if I right click, does this go into the properties? I can't remember if Windows 95 does that or not. No, it just does display properties. No background, but that probably does speed things up a little bit because of less memory. Let's go into control panel. I believe that's accessed through my computer now in this one. Okay, so there's the floppy, which we don't have connected right now, the hard drive, and the CD drive, which doesn't have anything in it right now. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't have a phone line to even test the modem at this point. I'd have to get one of those little Magic Jack adapters they have where you can hook it up through USB. But here's the control panel, which has since been kind of replaced. There's versions of it that still exist on Windows 10, but so yeah, even has power options. Real Player, oh my goodness, how long has it been since we've seen Real Player on anything? That definitely was like the standard for video years and years ago, and then it kind of just went the way of the dodo. So I'm not sure what happened to that, but it wasn't ever my favorite program, so I wasn't super sad that that left. Leave me a comment if you were kind of sad that the Real Player left. It was on like every website back in the 90s and early 2000s. And I said this wrong earlier, PCMCIA. I said PCMIA, I missed a C there. All right, so let's go into system and we'll see all the specs here. It really is registered to Nike. Okay, that's pretty cool. Wow, I mean, it's got the swoosh and everything. Wow, Y2K compliant, guys. This computer is Y2K compliant. I'm really excited about that. Sorry about, of course, the banding effect there. That's a polarization issue with the monitor. So anyway, so it's a Pentium, 32 megabytes of RAM, and I believe it's 120 megahertz, but I don't think it says on here then exactly what the speed of the processor is. I'll have to look it up on the specs online. Looks like the serial port has some kind of a conflict there. COM1 is the one in the back. COM2 is the modem port, which is the internal modem. So, and let's look here. Let's look at the be a little better with the regular mouse, but I'm actually doing pretty good with this little eraser ball thing. But let's so it's a crystal device, but it's Sound Blaster compatible. There's also the Wave device for the modem. Now the sound card had to help out with the modem with any sound effects that the modem needed to play, or any the touch tone dialing and all that stuff. The sound card had to help out with that. Which is pretty interesting back in the day that happened. And let's look at network adapter. Let's see what that says. So that's probably the PCMCIA card. Zircom, looks like there's an issue with the driver maybe on that, so we'll have to mess with that later. But anyway, cool. So, and then let's go over here and I'm really surprised with how well it runs, and it's actually kind of cool that this computer is registered to Nike. I don't know, this is kind of a neat thing. All right, Internet Explorer. 5.5. So this version was up to 2000, it shows, and of course we're not going to be able to get any websites to load because obviously we are not connected to anything. Remember when the favorites bar was over there? It's kind of funny. It's going to open a okay, yeah, there we go. This page cannot not be displayed. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to hook this up to the internet and see if it actually does anything. So look at all the shortcuts up there for real.com and everything. It's hilarious. But again, the screen looks really nice. It's very nice and bright, vivid, easy to read. Very awesome. So I'm going to actually hook up the floppy drive and try a game on this. All right, so we're going to try Test Drive 3 here. I've actually got the original discs from when I owned this as a kid years and years ago. So Test Drive 3, it has VGA options all the way down to CGA and Tandy 16 color, so I can try it on my other Tandy system as well. But let's do what we haven't done yet. I'm super excited to exit to DOS. All right, so here we go. So we have the options here. Shut down, let's see. I don't want to shut down, but let's see. Okay, yeah. Shut down the computer or restart in MS-DOS mode. So let's restart the computer in MS-DOS mode so we get a full MS-DOS prompt. Okay, I forgot that that's how it worked. There's not an actual just exit to DOS like Windows 3.1 had or the Tandy systems had. It actually has to when you're exiting from desk main and Tandy, it actually just exits. This one has to actually reboot. Oh, okay, interesting. So that didn't take very long. So there we are in DOS mode. So now I need to put in the the boot disk. By the way, there was actually a disk in the system, so we'll check out what was on that later. There was a disk in the floppy. All right, so let's see. Hopefully, I plugged this in while it was on the floppy drive. I'm not sure if it's hot swappable or not, meaning that I'm not sure if I have to actually completely reboot the computer to make this work or not. So let's see if it will allow me to access the A drive. Yes, it does. I hear the drive spinning up right now. So there we go. So, all right, so let's get a directory. I think it's TD3 or something I have to type to make this work. Yep, TD3. I was right. Let's try setup first, though. Setup. Okay, let's see what happens. We can run this from the disk. I won't worry about copying it to the hard drive or anything. Okay, so we're going to be VGA, 256 colors. It's 320 by 200, and we're going to do, let's see. Let's just try AdLib or Sound Blaster. I don't believe this card is Roland MT32 compatible. So we're going to try Sound Blaster or AdLib, which is letter E. Okay, this is correct. Yes. Write protect error. Oh, it can't write to the disk. Okay, that's fine. I probably should. I'm just going to abort. Okay. There we go. Let's just run it and see what happens. It might run it in Tandy mode or something, but that's okay. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, I'll copy it to the hard drive. All right, TD3. Let's see what happens. Probably be better just to copy the whole program to the hard drive. I haven't loaded a game from a disk in so long. Let's see if you can hear it. Not enough RAM. Oh, interesting. All right, so we got to figure out how to free some RAM to make this work. We need 556K. I wonder how much memory is here. Let's go to, just type mem here. There is 479K free. There is a lot of stuff running. So, okay, so we'll have to figure that out. In order to do that, of course, you're going to look at the, let's see if I can remember how to do this with one hand here. Edit auto exec.bat. Let's see what's loading at the beginning here. That's running in MS-DOS mode. So that's interesting. So it's running some kind of a batch Oro N95 site tool. Starting up a few different programs here. Let's see if we can just remove this. So yeah, we'll figure that out. I think if I type REM or something, it will ignore that. Either way, it's actually pretty interesting. I think if I push Alt-F, I can get to the file menu and exit. So let's see what config sys looks like. I'm just wondering, since this is a Nike system, if for MS-DOS mode, if there's a lot of stuff running. HiMem.sys, EMM386, no EMS. Why would we want no EMS? That's weird. I would think we want that to run. So maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need to figure out how to get all the device drivers to go up into the high memory. Yeah, it looks like the extended memory is there. So anyway, we'll figure it out. It's been, okay, MS-DOS is in the high memory area, so I'm curious as to what is in the lower memory area taking up that first 640K. All right, well, I decided to try a little Commander Keen here, episode 4, Secret of the Oracle. I believe I bought this original one at Walmart, of all places. Looks like it's got 2 discs, so I'll grab the other one out of my little box over here. So we're going to check this out, see if it will run. But I have my son Liam here. Liam, come over here and say hi. He's dressed like Mario today, so he's... Mario time! It's Mario time. It's Liam time. Mario time. All right, you ready to try this? Let's put this in here. Yeah, it's not by Sega, but close enough, right? Okay, so here we go. We're going to try a directory of the disk.
Can I show you something?
Oh, he wants to show a transformer he made. He made the transformer.
Here, let me back this way.
Okay.
His name is Chase. He turns into a police car. Now, hold on for a second.
Okay, well, while you do that, I'm gonna look at here, and then you can transform it and show us. So we've got install. We actually have to install this one, it looks like, and I believe it'll last for that second disk. So let's see what happens here. Install. Ah, I kind of remember this little screen here. That's pretty cool. So let me get the other disk out of the box over here. And we're going to install to drive C because, you know, there's only one drive in the computer. Are you ready? Is he transformed? All right, before I hit enter, let's show your transformer.
Here is my transformer police car. I know it doesn't have the police lights. Yeah, I'm still working.
You're still working on that.
But I made this at my grandpa and grandma's house.
That's awesome.
His name's Chase. Police Force Robot Cybertronian.
All right, so let's see if we can install this. The directory does not exist. Create it. Yes. Okay, here we go. Remember these old DOS install programs? So cool. So watch the percentage meter go up, Liam. This is how old games used to get installed. It's copying it from this disk right here. Oh, there's a Bumblebee. Yeah, it's copying it from this disk right here over to the hard drive. Okay, so here we go. Looks like it is copying everything over. Okay. Ooh, it did it. I was wondering. It said disk 1 of 2, but I guess this Armageddon machine is a whole separate game, so we'll maybe try that one later. But everything's good. It looks like it was packed up somehow, like compressed with a. It said de-ice or something was in there. So let's see. Looks like it's all there. So we're gonna try Keen 4. So Liam, you're gonna love this game. This is a lot of fun. It's a game I used to love as a kid. It's kind of like a platformer game like Mario, and you're already dressed like Mario, ready to go. So let's see what. Ooh, I think it's about to start. Memory available to the game. It's not a lot. You're gonna wait? Okay. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. You do not have enough memory to run the Commander Keen. So we do have to work on our memory here and see what happens. All right, so Liam wanted to show his transformer. Liam, who you got there?
This is Bumblebee. Now, if you want to know how to transform him, he's not playing. You just pull this up, and then you pull this down, and see this? Push it in.
It's awesome. Wow, cool. All right, so we're going to try one more thing. We did the Windows startup trick with the F8. Hold F8 when it says starting Windows. We're going to try command prompt only and see if we get a little bit more memory free here. Ah, there we go. Okay, let's see what happens. So now I'm going to try memory, mem. Let's see what happens there. We still only have 483 free. This is very strange. Yep, we'll have to look at that then and figure out what's going on. Okay, so I actually tried something different. I just tried it from a DOS box inside of Windows 95. So let's hit the DOS prompt there. I still think it's funny that Party Poker is installed. All right, so we're going to go to the Keen 4 directory, and let's see if we can get Commander Keen to run. It still shows there's not that much memory available, but somehow it figures out a way to make it run. There it shows what we've got. It shows Sound Blaster. Okay, everything's ready to go, so we're going to press a key. And here it goes. ID Software. Same ones that brought you Doom, I believe. And not just that, but Wolfenstein, of course. All right, so here we go. Let's try a new game. I'm not really sure. I guess there's a volume control over here on the side of the computer. So I'm not really, other than that, I'm not really sure how to adjust the volume, but let's see if we get any sound. Let's go easy mode, because I don't even remember how to play this. So I don't really have any sound right now, I don't think, unless maybe it doesn't do any sound unless we get into the game here. So let's see. Let's see what happens here. Nope, there's no sound yet, but isn't that cool, buddy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty cool. What's that?
Well, I got to figure out what buttons are jump. Is it shift maybe or something? Anyway, let's figure out. We could get a joystick and hook it up here, but all right, so that's pretty cool. So it's control, I guess, is jump. So I'd have to have two hands actually to play it, but.
But those yellow stuff.
You mean the stars going around his head? Well, he knocked him out.
Oh, what's that blue thing?
Which blue thing?
The blue thing up there.
This thing?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a teardrop or something, a water crystal. I'm not sure. It's something that looks like it gives you points or something. That's interesting. So yeah. So it looks like no sound right now, but maybe I have the... Oh, there it is. Oh, that's a nice little tune. Boy, those speakers are good. That little ad-lib soundtrack, you gotta love it. Let's go in here. Take a little soda pops there.
What do those do?
I think they give you power or points or something. It's been so long since
Go inside the house.
I gotta get around this guy here. Oh. He got me. You didn't make it past the border village. Apparently you only get one hit. Try again. I'm a little loud here on the sound. Apparently the smiley faces, are not your friend. You want to go over here? Go in here?
Yeah.
There, we just barely made it.
Go in there.
It's pretty cool.
Where are you going?
We're going underground, wherever this goes. So, all right, well, that's a lot of fun. Well, Liam and I are going to play this a little bit, but I really am glad that we got this to work. I'll figure out the memory issues here in another part of the video, or maybe even in a more in-depth video, but at least we got to see the graphics and hear the sound. The screen works really well. I don't know if there's a way to stretch it. Liam says hi.
I meant bye.
Oh, bye, yes.
And my Transformers say bye. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad they do. All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, so it's been a few days. Got several updates on this Toshiba Tecra here, just to finish out this unboxing and setup video here. First of all, it's sitting on my desk now in a little bit better location, and I've been working with a lot of things on it just to get it working. First of all, I figured out the memory issue, so I'll show you that before I show you some other really exciting things going on here. Let's see if I can get that to focus a little better. All right, so if I go into DOS prompt here, I've learned that, I think I said this earlier, but I've learned that using the DOS prompt, at least with this setup that I have, gives me more free memory. So now I've got 612K free, which is enough to run basically any DOS program. And I did a little research. It's been a long time since I figured out any of this stuff, but basically if I go into, not the IP config, but MS config, anybody remember that? Let's see. Oops, that's not the right one. I'm sorry. It's sysconfig on this one. I think it's MS config on newer ones. Sysconfig, I think. Where's the sysedit? There we go. I got it that time. Sysedit. There's too many things. But anyway, so you can edit all your files. Of course, you can edit them in DOS as well. But what I did here was I added this line right here. First of all, you need to make sure high-mem.sys is in your config.sys so that you can use high memory. It's required for Windows, so I think it was probably already in there. But this part, DOS equals high, comma, UMB. I don't even know what the UMB means. I just read that part online, but I know DOS equals high puts the DOS system in the high memory as opposed to in the normal, the bottom 640K. So then we have the device that's for the sound card, which is good. That makes sure that we have sound even in DOS. Also, I removed files and buffers because they recommended putting the files down a bit to 30 and 40 buffers, but it actually caused some programs not to work correctly, so I did REM, which means, of course, to remove that line for now. I also had set Blaster in my auto exec, but honestly, all I had to do, I believe there was something else, there were a couple other drivers in here that I didn't need that I removed. But basically getting DOS in the high memory solved it for me. Now what's weird, I want to show you this, and you can leave me a comment if you know why this is happening. So if I go over to shutdown and I restart the computer in MS-DOS mode, love that little sound effect there. Okay, so actually, first of all, I'm so glad that it doesn't take very long to do that. But then if I type in the memory command, now it's actually showing that under conventional memory, there's only 513K free, which is really strange. And so when I looked at it, there's 100K that is actually being used for some kind of system files when it restarts like that. So I'm not sure, so if anybody can tell me in the comments why it changes whenever you're in restart in MS-DOS mode, why there's less memory available in this mode than there is when you're actually in a Windows DOS box. Maybe there's some, maybe that's just a Windows 95 thing, or maybe I'm missing something somewhere. But either way, there's a lot of programs that definitely won't run in DOS when it's listed this way. And one thing I'll show you real quick, I ran mim/c/p to show the categories. And so what's interesting is there's 130K used of a conventional memory, and it shows that system is using 120K of conventional. Now if I go back to Windows, system won't be using that, so that's what's strange. So I don't know, so I'm still figuring that out, but everything seems to run fine from within Windows in a DOS box. It's not like DOS box that runs on Windows 10, but an actual MS-DOS window, I guess I should say. Everything seems to run fine there. So anyway, let me get Windows loaded and I'll be right back. Gotta love that Microsoft sound there. I still haven't taken Party Poker off of there. But a couple things I've noticed I want to show you. You can actually see, by the way, here's a little sneak preview. You can see Need for Speed 3 in the CD drive there. I thought the CD wasn't working, but I had to do a few things to get that working too. I also installed FileZilla to get files from my main PC right here behind me, my Windows 10 PC, to this one, to run it through FTP. That was the easiest way I could find. I tried through Network Neighborhood and all kinds of other things, and I think it's possible, but I just haven't gotten the computers to talk. I got them in the same work group, and I got them to see each other, but not connect no matter what I tried. So I think there may be some protocol issues there between the several different versions of Windows. But another thing that I had to mess with, besides getting FTP to work, was getting the sound to work correctly. This laptop, as you can see, it's Sound Blaster compatible. It's a Crystal audio system, but it's got a YPL Yamaha chip. I don't know if it's an emulation or an actual chip, but either way it works really, really well. So if I load up Windows Media Player here, and I hope we open everybody's favorite Canyon.mid, if you remember that, and we start playing it. And here it sounds really nice. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's coming out of both speakers equally right now. And I had to do a lot of tweaking to make that happen. There's a volume control on the side over here. And when I mess with that volume control, if I turn it up, all the sound seems to gravitate toward the right speaker. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. But as I turn it back down, it balances out. So the speaker volume control on the actual laptop seems to have something to do with balance. Even when I go down here to when I go down here to the volume settings, and at first I saw that the balance controls were out of whack here a little bit, but the good news is I was able to fix that, and so there's still a little bit of weirdness with the volume. I'm not really sure what it is, but it works now, and that's all good. And also, FileZilla, I found a Windows 95 version of FileZilla, which works really, really well. So I was able to transfer some files easily from my Windows 10 to this computer. Now, the biggest challenge to that was getting Windows 10 firewall set up so that it would accept incoming connections from FileZilla, but we got that going as well, and I'll do a little tutorial on how to do that if you need any help with that, because I definitely struggled through that a little bit, just remembering how to do it all. And another big update is I got the PC MCIA Ethernet card working here, and I've got it connected up to my router over here. So that's good and that's helpful. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing anything, but what was really surprising the other night when I was messing with it, I pulled up Internet Explorer, and I had to go through the whole, if you go to Settings, Control Panel, I had to go through the whole Internet options here and set up the Internet connection and all that stuff, because it was wanting a dial-up connection, and so I had to go through here and change it to, never dial. Let me get it to focus there. Sorry about that. Never dial a connection, and I had to go to LAN settings and get all that, automatically detect settings and all that. But even then, I still had to go through setup, and I already did it once. So I'm not going to do it again. But went through setup and finally got the internet working. And there actually are a couple websites that load with Internet Explorer 5.5, which is really surprising. But it defaults to msn.com. And, that website's been around for a long time. And it takes a minute, but it will load it. And there's some things missing on the page and stuff like that, but it does load the website, and it looks really, really cool just to see it on an older system like this. So, there we go. And you can definitely see this is a modern version of the website. This is stuff happening today, I guess, in this area. So, anyway, it actually loaded it a lot better than what I thought. I haven't tried to click around too much, but and then of course you can go to Google, and that it looks a little bit more like the old Google when you do that. And of course, it takes a second. This does have a Pentium 120 megahertz processor. I think I wasn't sure before, but I did look that up, and it does have 120 megahertz. So anyway, Google works just fine, and things like that. And I don't know if YouTube, let's see what happens if I click on YouTube. I don't think that one's going to work. I think the technology is just way too new. Yeah, it can't be displayed. So a lot of pages I've found have certificates that, you know, and obviously optimizations, JavaScript and all that, that this browser just can't handle. So I don't know. I'm going to have to do some research and see if there are modern browsers that work with Windows 95. Not that it matters, but just to kind of tweak around and tinker around with. I love that there's a link to a real.com up here. That's pretty cool. The real player is installed. So anyway, so that works. And I got FileZilla going. I want to show you one more thing there, show you how that connects. So I'll load that up. And we'll go to a quick connect here. And there we go. All right, I'll maximize this so I can see what I'm dealing with. There we go. I got some Disney music over here. I also had like Epic Pinball and Doom and Duke Nukem 3D and all those things. Duke Nukem 3D runs really well on this, so I'll show you that here in a little bit. Or maybe we'll save that for another video, we'll see. But I want to see if an MP3 plays on this computer. I think that would be kind of cool to check out. So let's see what happens. Not a bad transfer rate. 400 kilobytes a second on this older card. It's a max of 10 megabits, so I don't think it approaches that speed, but it's still it's pretty good. So anyway, so that's running from this desktop behind here. Well, that's just the monitor, but the desktop that's connected. My main PC is running a FileZilla server here, which is super easy to set up. And you can see it just has I'm able to show the IP address because obviously that's just on my home network. My router, for whatever reason, does 29 instead of 192.168.1.1 is normally everybody's router address. Mine is 29. I have no idea why, but anyway, that's what my router decided to do. So let's see if I go into Windows Media Player. And again, I'm sorry, there's kind of a moire effect or whatever you call it every once in a while on this monitor. It's actually a really nice monitor. So we're going to browse. And there's quite a few media files in there that Windows 95 comes with. I'm going to go my shared directory, and look, it does bring up that MP3. So let's see how MP3 sounds on here, or if it even will play that one. I'm not sure. It's an old Epcot Center MP3, so let's see what it'll do here. Oh, works great. Actually sounds pretty good. Cool. So, okay, so MP3s work great. I knew Windows Media Player 95 would play MP3s. I just wasn't sure if it would work on this computer. So that works great. So that's another problem that I kind of have overcome here. Last night, I couldn't get anything to work. I couldn't get FTP. I couldn't get the sound working properly. It was only working out of one speaker. And everything was just kind of frustrating. And sometimes just taking going to bed and taking a day to kind of think things through, do some research and figured it out. I thought I was going to have to buy a new soundboard for the computer. I found one for like $5.50 online, which is kind of crazy. But I decided I don't think that's necessary. It may just be a little strange with the volume control, having the speakers go out of balance. But then another problem was, and this was something, if you're wondering why do I have this paper clip sitting here like this, if you can see it here, it's kind of hard to see with all the stuff in the way. It doesn't want to focus on it, but the CD-ROM drive would not open. I just pushed it several times. I pushed it and pushed it and pushed it, would not open. So I read online, I was like, maybe if I get this paper clip in here, and I stuck the paper clip in this hole. I'm not going to do it now, but I stuck the paper clip in this hole right here, right by the open close button, while it was off, of course, and while it was out of the system. And I got it to open. So I'm wondering if during transit it got just jammed. There was no disk in there. And once I did that, it worked great. Now it's got this, I showed you this floppy enclosure here. I had the CD in there just to see if it would work differently, and it didn't even recognize it in there. It will recognize the floppy in both places. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but the good news is the CD-ROM drive does work. And I actually want to try Need for Speed 3 on this. It does technically work on this computer. It only requires a Pentium with, I believe, like 8 or 16 megs of RAM. So let's see what happens here. Ooh, that's a nice little sound effect there. Let's go for English.
We're going to try to install it. It's even got a Moto Racer 2 demo. This computer might be too slow for this, but it runs Duke Nukem at 40 to 60 frames per second. Duke 3D, that is. So that's not too bad for this kind of a computer with only a 120 megahertz Pentium. So, alright, so it's going to install that. We'll be back. I won't make you watch all that, but pretty cool to see these old install shield wizards. Womp womp. It says your computer does not meet the minimum CPU requirement. You must have a Pentium 133. This is a 120. We're going to try it anyway. See what happens. The worst thing that's going to happen is it just doesn't run very well. And we can delete it. But just wanted to see if it would work. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and do maximum so that it has plenty of space for best performance. Actually, let's do standard. There's not a lot of room on this computer. I'll probably delete this after this, but I just want to see if it works. Okay, it's done copying all the files, and this was something I was wondering about. Requires the installation of DirectX 5.0 drivers. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to try and see if we can get the drivers installed here. And of course, the dreaded, I want to restart my computer now or later. Windows 95 was notorious for making users, well, and even 98 all the way up to really XP was notorious for making people restart their computer all the time. Windows 10 still requires it, but not nearly as much. Alright, we'll be back. Alright, computer has restarted. And another thing I forgot to mention that I had to fix between last time we had the video on and now was some stuff in the device manager where the sound card IRQ was wrong and it wasn't working with some games. It was 7, it was conflicting with something down here. This generic serial port, we even turned that off because we're not using that. So it was actually disabled when I got it too, and I think it's because they're not using it and it did have an IRQ conflict. So I had to go in here to the Crystal audio system codec and get the IRQ changed over to IRQ5, and that seemed to be better for some DOS games and things like that. So I did a lot of research, but I remember getting IRQs to work. It's weird, you know, Windows 10 does all that automatically, but something that we take for granted now and was something we all had to do manually, you know, when we used to do this a long time ago. And by the way, I'm sorry if my screen doesn't look great on the video. I'm working on this, I'm new at this, and so definitely I'll get better as we go along, but I hope you're enjoying this anyway because, you know, it's just like me discovering this old computer again and really enjoying messing with it and seeing what it will do and what it won't do. So let's see if it'll run Need for Speed. Even if it's slow, it'll be fun to see what it does with it. I'm just glad I got that CD-ROM drive working. I thought I was going to have to buy a new one or something because a lot of software I have on CD-ROM, and even if I want to reinstall Windows or something, it would be so much easier to do from a CD-ROM than it would be from floppy disks. Oh my goodness. I know that's been done, and I have done that before, but wow, there it goes. Dolby Surround. It doesn't seem to be running too badly, at least on the intro screens here. I have to turn the volume up a little bit and just deal with it not being equal. Huh, doesn't look bad at all. Even though this computer's got only 120 megahertz Pentium, it really seems to pack a punch. I know these are pre-recorded videos and stuff, but still, it really is going through them pretty quickly. I used to run this on a Pentium 3 with a Voodoo card in it, so I know this is not going to, it's like a 500 megahertz Pentium 3, I know this is not going to equal that, but it's decent at least. Now the one thing is that this computer doesn't seem to do great with scaling. It does leave the letterbox around the 640p mode. Whereas on a desktop, it seems like it would stretch it a lot of times to fill the whole screen. So I think that's a laptop thing. That still looks pretty good. It's a good display. Right, let's see if we can get into this game here. It's a really cool intro, though. 1998, and this computer, I believe, came out in 96, 97, so it's around the right era. I remember having this game when I was in college. Audio appears to be coming out of both speakers, so that's good. Alright, now it's a little laggy. Okay, but we're going to go with one player. See what happens. Let's just do single race. I'll just be player 1 for now. I'm not even going to change any options. We'll be the Corvette. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be kind of slow. Everything else up to this point worked pretty well. So there's a slightly pixelated bitmap image of a Chevy Corvette with the, you can see the moire there. If I tilt it one way or the other, it seems to go away, so maybe I'll keep it tilted slightly off center. Didn't even set up the controls. I'm assuming I can use the number pad, or not the number pad, the cursor keys is what I meant to say. Okay, it's working. Quality's not fantastic, but it's working. And it's pretty laggy. 3. We only got 3. Is that all the further it's going to go? Alright. Oh, there we go. Wow. It's working. It's not great, but you can play it. Wow. It's probably 15 frames a second or something, about half frame rate. Not too bad. I mean, the details are really bad. I remember on my Pentium 3, I had the Voodoo card, and I had it up, what, 800 by 600 resolution, or even 1024 by 768. It's playable for sure, though. Look at that. I'm going to run all the way off the road here trying to watch the camera instead of the track, but that's so funny. I don't know what resolution that is. Let's see if there's options. Well, if you run it at any other resolution, it's gonna like kill it. But anyway, all right. Well, that's cool. At least we know that works. Let me see if I can. Let's just see what happens with the graphics. Okay, it probably defaulted to a lower. Okay, widescreen. Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that's not good. Car detailing, car detail, special effects, perspective. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't really have anything with the yeah, it doesn't really have anything with the resolution. That may be something in the options menu or something like that. But anyway, still pretty cool. So, all right, well, I'm going to get out of this and I'll show you a couple more games and then we'll wrap up this video. Okay, I messed with some settings and I got it to load an 800 by 600, which does fill the entire screen. I believe this is an 800 by 600 native panel resolution on this LCD. It will do 1024 by 768, but my goodness, I think that would choke this processor. So we'll let it load and we'll try that here real quick, just for fun. It's the best part about all this, is tinkering around, seeing if it works, pushing it further than it's supposed to go, and you know, just seeing what happens. Alright, well, it's loaded, and you can definitely tell the frame rate is very, very slow. I've got the detail and everything set as low as it'll possibly go, but it is cool at least to see it filling the screen here. There it goes. It's going to be the slowest race ever. I push the cursor key to the right, and it takes it about 1.5 seconds to respond. So anyway, it's kind of cool to see what this thing will do. I'm really impressed that it even works this well. So again, this is kind of out of reach for this system. And if you want to play these type of games, if you want to get a little more powerful laptop, I mostly got this for DOS games. This is more of a Windows 98 game, even though it does work on 95, obviously, like this. But anyway, all right, but I'll show you some DOS games that work quite a bit better than this one. All right, so we're back at the good old MS-DOS prompt here, and we're going to run a little Test Drive 3 for a racing game that actually works really well on this system. Now, it also works on the Tandy over here. Got on the desk now. But that's an 8 megahertz system, and this is a 120 megahertz system, so it works a lot better on this one. It's almost too fast on this one, so I need to play around with it and see if there's a control to make it run a little bit slower, actually. The VGA graphics look really nice there. I'll play with the Chevrolet CERV3 here. Now, I do own this game. I've shown the original floppies here, and I couldn't get it to run last time, a couple days ago when I was doing this, because here you can just type in any number. I don't know. The copy protection seems to not work anymore, which is fine because I don't have the manual anymore anyway. But anyway, I got this working because I cleared up more memory. But you can see it runs quite a bit faster. It's very, very difficult to control, actually, as you can see. Anyway, but the sound is fun. Oh, and I just hit a police car. I'm going to jail. Let's go this way. Goodbye, sir. Anyway, if you go a little slower, you can control it a little better. That's just funny, these old polygon graphics. And this works on a 286, you know, so obviously with the Pentium, it works, it's going to run a lot faster, but it's still pretty fun to play. It might be easier with the joystick. There we go. Well, let's stop that for a second. And this was one thing, if I get out of this, there we go, we'll exit out of this. One thing I want to do eventually is get a joystick for this, but I found out for this type of laptop I would need a port replicator, like a docking station basically, to get a game port. This computer actually has in the sound card a controller for a joystick, but there's just no port for it. And I showed you the back of the laptop, there's just not really room for it. So anyway, all right, so let's do, I forgot the directory name, but let's do a little Duke Nukem here. Oh, it's Duke 3D, of course. Duke 3D. There we go. Alright, so here we go. Let's do this. Duke 3D. I already did all this setup and everything. I apologize, there's a little bit of language in this one, but if you know Duke Nukem 3D, you know how that works already. Oh wow, it tells you how many times you've run it. Let's see here, the sound levels are really inconsistent on this computer. I'll turn it up a little bit. I think there's a control on this game for how loud the music is compared to the sound, but you can see this one loads up nicely. So we'll go to new game. So you can see the frame rate's really good on this, nice and smooth. I've only got this video at 30 frames a second, but I believe that it's running. I believe this video is running, is running about 40 to 60 frames a second here for Duke Nukem, so that's pretty cool. So anyway, you can see that works pretty well. I love these exit screens on these DOS games. And speaking of DOS games, one of the greatest of all time, Wolfenstein 3D specifically, because there were earlier versions of Wolfenstein. Of course, we have plenty of available memory here. This game actually looks for the extended memory, which is good. You see ID Software and Apogee on there. I think they were together for a while and then split up. I need to actually do a little more research on that. But by the time it was Doom and Quake, it was just ID. This game is not shareware. It's alright. A long time ago I bought this, so I don't feel bad. I bought it in a box at Walmart or something, I believe. Same with Commander Keen. So. And I already have a game that I saved here. Get psyched. And of course on this system, you know, this game runs really, really smoothly. Probably won't even see on the video just how smoothly it runs. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it works really, really well. I'm not much of a first-person shooter kind of guy, but these older games were a lot of fun. I actually need to put Catacomb Abyss on here. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Very similar, but an EGA game, exploring like graveyards and crypts and all kinds of other stuff. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of exploration there on that. And I love this exit screen here. I hope this is your registered copy of Wolfenstein 3D. If not, we've got a problem. It's funny how hard drives can get, you know, erased and all. It's so funny. Anyway, I wonder what if that P.O. box, that 800 number is still any good. Probably not, but that's okay, guys. Like I said, I definitely bought this a long time ago, back in the 90s. So, all right. Well, let's wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing and just this look at this awesome Toshiba Tecra 500cdt. I'm glad I was able to get all the issues ironed out with it. Of course, with an older computer, you know, you're bound to have some issues here and there with getting it ready to go and getting it all set up and everything. I'm just glad that everything works on it. Really cool to pull out some of these old games, floppies and everything else, loading stuff up on the floppy, and I've got my floppy drive. I got a USB floppy on the desktop computer down here, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, super excited to be able to mess around with this a little more and just tweak it and see what it will do. So hope you enjoyed, and there'll be a lot more videos coming on this, including how to choose your own MS-DOS compatible laptop, as well as how to install things, how to get things to communicate with your modern computer, maybe how to set up FTP, all kinds of stuff. So we hope you enjoyed this, but more to come. Well, alright everybody, that about wraps up this video. Hope you enjoyed all the fun we had with this new laptop. Can't wait to try more games out on it and really just see what else it can do. So we had a lot of fun setting it up and problem solving through the whole process and just getting parts of the computer to work. So hope you enjoyed watching that journey, and maybe it was helpful to somebody else who's setting up their own retro laptop later on. Either way, make sure you subscribe if you're interested in more of these types of videos. Also, be sure to leave a comment and let me know what you think, or let me know your experiences setting up your own retro gaming machines. Alright, well, we'll see everybody in the next video. So for now, enjoy that tech and keep it retro.